Previously on Lost.
Because Locke's legs are really weak, he has Boone climb all the way the frick up and get into the plane. And then that's when the plane goes down. He's got Boone on his shoulders and he's all bloody and gross and whatever. Jack's like, what happened? And he says, well, we were out hunting and he fell off a cliff. This video is Lost Part 19. It is an episode primarily about Jack, and it is the episode entitled Do No Harm. At the very beginning of the episode, remember, they're in the cave, and they get the really bad off Boone up on some kind of, I don't know if it's a cart or something that they built, but anyways, something that they can look at him. So Jack's trying to fix him along with Sun's help, and then he tells Kate, you know, because she's kind of like, oh my god, like what happened, to go to the beach and get all the alcohol that she can from Sawyer's stash. She goes off, taken off towards the beach to go get Sawyer's stuff. And they're looking at him and trying to do everything that they basically can for him and try and repair him with all of what little medical supplies they do have there on the island. And he makes a promise to Boone, because Boone's barely conscious. He says, I'm not going to let you die. I promise you. So, Kate runs from the caves, through the jungle, and all the way out to the beach, to the camp where the people who are at the beach are staying, and gets all the stuff from Sawyer, and he's like, you know, what happened? And, I'm sorry, he didn't say it quite like that. He's like, what happened? She's like, Boone fell down a cliff, and so we're trying to save his life, so I really can't talk, but I gotta go. So then she runs back, and while in the middle of the jungle, she, like, trips and falls. And, like, a couple of the little bottles of vodka from Sawyer's stash break in her backpack. And then suddenly, out there in the jungle, she sees Claire. And when she sees Claire, she's like sitting on like a log, or maybe it's a rock, I don't know, but anyways, like she's having contractions, and she's like, oh my god, you're going to have a baby. And she's like, really? I didn't know, I just thought I ate a lot. Boone is at the caves with a really messed up leg and a bunch of bad injuries, and Jack is trying to help him. Well, meanwhile, Claire is out in the jungle having the baby, and Kate is trying to help her. While they're trying to doctor him up, Sun helps him like set his leg and clean his wounds and whatever, and he realizes that he's lost a lot of blood. He needs a blood transfusion, so they're trying to figure out a way to do that. Claire doesn't want Kate to leave her, so she calls for help. And along comes, Jin hears someone calling for help from the beach. He comes and doesn't understand anything that they're talking about, but knows that she's going to be having the baby. So she tells Jin to go and get Jack from the caves and to come back because Claire's having her baby. So he takes off and goes and tells Jack, you know, Claire having baby. And so he's like, I can't go help her because I've got to take care of Boone, because he found some way to get like a blood transfusion by using like a sea urchin spine and some tubing to put like an IV in his arm to give him blood, so he can't leave him. So he sends Jin and Charlie off to go and help Claire and Kate in the jungle to help Claire have her baby. Okay, so this is Jack's flashback in a nutshell. He's in Hawaii and about to marry his fiancée Sarah, who was a victim of a car accident who he helped fix and then eventually fell in love with. Her back was broken, and he fixed her, and now she's, you know, like, got hero worship for him, so she fell in love with him and is going to marry him. And Sarah wants them to write their own vows. She's already written all hers up, and blah, 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 blah. They've had the night before reception, and he still hasn't done it. His dad comes along and is like, I can't write my vows, Dad. And he's like, well, you know, commitment's always been your strong suit. You just don't know how to let go. He's like, should I marry her? He's like, absolutely. If you absolutely love her, you should. So at the ceremony, he tells Sarah that I haven't written any vows. And first she looks all confused. She's like, oh, okay, look it. I've already been through an accident, so you better fucking, like, say something to me and marry my ass, because I'm not about to walk away from this gorgeous wedding and not become a doctor's wife. No, she really doesn't say that, but it would be more interesting. Anyways, he's like, oh, blah, 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 sappy, sappy, cry, cry, sob, oh, I didn't fix you, you fixed me, and then they kiss and they get married. So, basically, he's just saying he can commit to something because he wants to follow it all the way through, but he's really scared in case he ever fails. Sorry I didn't give you a bunch of scenes, but it was really boring. So, back at the cave, Boone's like getting worse. He's not bleeding quite this much, but I wanted to show you that it was like dire. They've done everything they can for him. The IV that was in Jack's arm, Sun rips out because she's like, you've given him enough. And besides, we still need a doctor for the rest of the show. You can't die too. And so he tells Hurley to go to the beach to get Michael, because they're going to try and move like a luggage container that was on the plane in the crash. And what they're going to do is, because Boone's leg is really so bad, that they're just going to go ahead and try and amputate it. And he realizes that because the transfusion wasn't really working, all the blood was pooling up next to where the injury on his leg was. He recognizes that it was crushed. He didn't fall off a cliff. It was crushed. So he knows that something's going on. There was one point where Boone wakes up and he's like, Locke said not to tell. And he's like, tell what? And he basically tells him that he was in this like little plane and it fell, and that's how he was crashed. Well, see, now Locke isn't around to tell him any of this. So anyway, okay. This whole time, everyone's trying to figure out where Shannon is, because they need to tell her that, her brother is hurt and, whatever. But Saeed took her to a distant part of some beach elsewhere on the island to have a private picnic. And she tells him, Boone's really my stepbrother, and he's kind of in love with me, but I don't really feel the same way about him. And he's like, why are you telling me this, Shannon? All I want to do is jump your bones. No. She's like, I have to take this slow, because I don't really know if I'm ever going to go off this island and find someone better. No. So they're off picnicking, and like no one knows where they're at, okay? Okay. Charlie and Jin come back to where Kate and Claire are in the jungle, and basically tell Kate that she's going to be the one that has to, deliver this baby. And she was like, no, I can't do it. I need Jack. And they're like, well, he's helping Boone. He's dying right now, so you're going to have to do this. So Kate tells, Claire that she has to get ready to push. So Charlie and Jin are watching in the distance because they don't really want to see her hoo-ha. And so she pushes and pushes and pushes. And then finally the little baby, see this is him inside, finally like shoots out into Kate's arms. And she's like, oh, you have a son! And so everyone's like happy, and the baby is born, and yay! There was actually a whole lot more like stuff that came out when the baby came out, but they don't really show that on camera. Okay, back at the cave, they have the luggage container. It looks like just a bunch of sticks. It's actually this big, like, I guess it looks like a half dome thing. Anyways, the door to it has kind of like a sharp edge on the bottom, and what he's going to do is like take it and like slam it down on his broken leg. This is Jack standing and getting ready to pull the thing down, and he's holding Boone's other leg up right here. So he gets ready to like cut his leg off with this damn like storage container door, and Boone's like, wait, you have to let me go. And Jack's like, I made you a promise that I wouldn't let you die. And he's like, well, I'm letting you off the hook. You have to let me go, Jack. Because Sun determined that he was like bleeding internally, because when she tried to give him water, he coughed up blood. So basically, even if he had cut off the leg, Boone still would have died. So if you haven't figured it out, Boone dies. So Claire's baby is born pretty much around the same time that Boone is dead or dies. Ah, the circle of life. So at dawn, Claire takes the baby along with everyone else, all the survivors of the crash, and she goes and shows that the baby was born, and they're all happy for her. And then, like, down the beach, Shannon and Saeed are walking back from their little overnight picnic. What the heck were they doing? They're like, if Locke and Boone can do it, so can we. So he goes off to tell Shannon and Saeed that Boone is dead. And so later that morning, Kate comes over to Jack and is like, Boone died last night. And he's like, Boone didn't die. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, he was murdered. I guess he basically figures that because of Locke, he climbed up into this plane and got, smashed and whatever. So he thinks it's all Locke's fault. He tells Kate, I'm going to go. And she's like, where are you going? He's like, to find John Locke. He goes off to go find Locke into the jungle.